Hey all. So I'm in the unique situation here of actually putting out a video before the war that it is excerpted from is over. But as anyone who's been watching my videos lately knows, I was already a very big fan of Mr. Fantastic um, before this recent announcement, and I was regularly telling people that he was already of worthy being ranked up, and that there were already places in war where he was a lot more viable than we thought. And as I was mounting up, my store of evidence for that particular viewpoint, a wonderful thing happened, and Kabam removed the last problem that most people brought up whenever I started this particular discussion, which was, okay, yeah, he has a ton of control over the fight, but is it worth it if his damage is low? And it wasn't that low, but it's definitely better. And so, with that in mind, I'm actually taking 3 fights with Reed in this particular war, and the fights after this are ones that I actually have copies of on my channel up already. So I figured since this buff went live today, I might as well get this out to you now so you can enjoy the awesomeness that is the new Mr. Fantastic. So, with that said, let's go ahead and get into this. So this first fight here is Cosmic Ghost Rider. He's not a particularly good matchup for Reed, but he's also not a bad one, so I figured I might as well. Notice that because this is a power struggle node, I am intentionally not using the suppression pre-fight, even though, thanks to the new buff, I did have enough charges right out of the gate. And that's because the suppression debuff would slow down his power, which would actually then slow down mine, since I only get a bar of power when he gains one. And on this particular node, that could have been catastrophic. But as you can see, instead, we push him over that bar of power, throw the special 1, everything is going well. Now, for those of you who are new to Reed, you may wonder why I used pre-fights at all. Because after all, at least at the start, I'm just giving him willpower healing, right? Well, as you can tell, now I have the willpower healing under control because I run Despair maxed, which I recommend to most people, but especially for someone playing a champion as debuff heavy as Reed. But the other reason is that you gain additional pre-fights based on how many debuffs you have up at the end of the fight, and you do more damage throughout the fight based on how many debuffs are on the opponent. So because of that, I put these up, and the fight goes faster. Because of it, the Petrify, also with its 40% healing reduction, is keeping willpower relatively under control even from the beginning. So you'll see he does have 1 Fury from the very first bar of power that I gave him. Not a problem. 1 Fury really isn't an issue. This node only gets out of control at higher levels. But we're actually able to shorten our combos even to get those specials out of the way quickly, and this is just rinsed. So next up we have a fight that, I'm going to be completely honest, I did not need to take with Reed. I have a rank 3 Human Torch right there. If this were another war, I probably would have dropped the Petrification to turn off his aura, and the debuff Siphoner to boost Torch's Incinerates, and I would have just used Torch, because it would have been incredibly fast and safe. However, because this new buff tweaked Reed's damage, and allowed him to stack more pre-fights overall, therefore I knew that 5 wasn't my ceiling, and I could gain more to place for future fights. I both wanted to test the damage output here, where it was a node that I knew I could take Doom, and I knew I was not going to have problems, because I think that Reed is a very good counter for Doom, but Doom does have that block penetration and crit resistance, and is just all around a tanky and difficult defender. And so I wanted to test this here, where I knew that I was not in danger of giving up a kill, just to see how much damage I was taking. Now, I have also stacked some Furies here. That's on me. I could have ended more combos in mediums early on, but you'll see that I don't think I stack another one for the rest of the fight because now I have that Careful Study passive up, my read is duped, and therefore I have increased offensive power gain for the rest of the fight. I know that this is very much under control. Notice he is not only not healing from willpower, but I am reversing it while both of the debuffs from the special 1 are up. He is going down. I am taking more block damage than I would with Torch, because with Torch this fight would already be over by now. But, like I said, he is handling this very well, and, maybe I would have needed to bring somebody else further on. Maybe instead of taking the Encroaching Sun Sasquatch that I always seem to be taking later on, I was taking something else that required my Claire and couldn't bring my Torch. Then I would know going forward that Reed is a good option for this fight and is in no danger. Plus, maybe if you're watching this, you have a Mr. Fantastic, but you don't have a Torch, and that's actually what you're worried about. Should I take him up without the Fantastic Four? Is that still viable? And while you would not have the Incinerate here from the synergy, hopefully you can tell that it's really not ticking away for that much, and that yes, Reed is very much viable on his own. So you can see another benefit of that offensive power gain. It didn't really affect the fight, but it was fun to show that I could actually get to my special 2 by the end of that because I was gaining a little bit more power every time I got to a new bar. So then I was up to 6 pre-fights, healed up a little bit, came to Longshot. I have a video that I will link in the description of me taking this exact fight in Off-Season War with Reed before his buff. And it went extremely well, but now it goes even better. It's not necessarily a direct comparison. I actually compared the times, and this one is faster, but not a ton faster, and that's because AI plays such a big role in this, right? You'll notice later on, I actually spend a while trying to get him to throw his special. Such it is. So you'll notice that I used all 3. Again, the debuff siphoner isn't really helping me here, but it's 1 more debuff, and it's 1 more debuff to stack with the L2, and therefore it's up to 3 debuffs in the long run, which means I think it's about 600 more attack for a rank 3. Definitely adds up. It's like another boost. And there's no downside to using it, because like I said, as long as I keep it up for the end of the fight, I get that pre-fight back for the future. So see how long it took him to throw his second special too, but also keep in mind we are a full minute in against a Mystic on Power Snack that gains a lot of damage, and that was his second special. He's now thrown his third because we kept pushing him, but we now have the Careful Study debuff up, and this fight is just completely under control. We have because that Careful Study passive counts as 3 debuffs, I have 12 debuffs up at all time, and that's really boosting his damage. Longshot is of course not nearly as tanky as Doom, but, this is still a rank 3 defender on a relatively difficult node, and he's going down in plenty of time. I also could have ended this fight earlier if I had thrown that special 2, because like I said, it was being boosted by 12 debuffs. But I kind of wanted to use the special 3, even though I knew I wouldn't benefit from the Fury, but just, now that Reed doesn't have to worry about his damage as much, and it's easier to keep those debuffs up, it's kind of fun to use the special 3. Anyway, I hope you guys are enjoying the new and improved Mr. Fantastic as much as I am. I look forward to using him more in War. I plan on releasing a longer video showcasing him in a number of different places later on this week. And hopefully, pretty soon after this, Kabam updates Invisible Woman so that the full Fantastic Four team reaches the heights that we know they're worthy of. I am very happy with what they've done to Reed. It didn't change him substantially, but just made everything in his kit flow together that much better, made the damage that much more viable. This has been fantastic. I hope to see more value updates like this from Kabam because this is exactly what he needed. See you guys next time.